Well, good afternoon. Welcome back to AVX Live. It's another Wednesday. I'm Joe Gilderson with Corporate AV. I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Ryan Finch.
Hello, hello. Good to be back.
I see you're WFHing today.
I am indeed WFHing, and I'm going to come up.
IML.
No, IRL.
Oh, it's so close. So close.
We're going to do a whole AVX episode, I think, on the different, what do you call that? With the letters, they mean something.
I don't know. I mean, I had FOMO of WFH. I can't do it.
Okay. All right. That's a good show. See you next Wednesday, 1 o'clock.
So today's discussion is we're going to review a little bit of what we did last week, which was a hybrid event of our own called Pirate University. We actually did broadcast from one of the sessions, which a session in the platform we used is like a breakout room. And so today we're going to actually go through a little bit of that, show you how we did it, and we'll discuss some of the advantages and some of the areas that are a little challenging. But Mr. Finch, before we get too far, do you think you can nail your part?
Yeah, acronym. That's the word I was looking for.
Acronym, yeah.
Yeah, it's like when letters.
Right there,
yeah. Otherwise, if what you meant is to plug the show, I can do that. Wednesdays, 1 p.m., just like right now. Right now it's 1:02. We're very close. Wednesdays, 1 o'clock. Come on back. LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. And if you're watching on one of those platforms, you can like, comment, share, or subscribe, whatever is applicable to that platform. So please, if you have questions, drop us a comment, and we will answer them live. Otherwise, come on back each and every week, Wednesdays, 1 o'clock. Set your calendars, and we're going to keep doing this thing every week.
Wow. That was so well done.
I know.
So well done.
Look at the banners. Do you have these ready to go?
Of course. They're all ready to go.
Wow. Preparation.
Why wouldn't they be? I mean, we're supposed to be preparing for events, Finch.
That's right. And sometimes we plan them. We plan the whole thing.
Just going to start and it has later. We're not going to do that.
Tip number 1, don't wing it.
All right. So let's talk about, I guess the first question on everybody's mind is, what type of hybrid, right? Because there's many different ways. So we tried to incorporate as many different things as possible. Mm-hmm. So in our case, we broadcast the event from our studio and warehouse here in New York. We had an in-person crowd. Now there's a full production team, so there's probably at least 10 people working at that point. And then we had a smaller audience, give or take about 15 people, for training purposes. And then we had some presenters. So you still had to have an actual set. So we're going to cover that. We're going to show you what we used. So we had a set, and then we streamed that to a platform, which we'll discuss in a second. We had remote presenters, and we certainly had an online audience as well. And in this case, we actually reached a number of different countries, which is part of why we wanted to do it that way. So it's really interesting. And since then, I know I've already connected with 2 people from, international waters, and we've already had really productive conversations about how we may be able to do things together and help each other out. So I think that's one of the really unique things of the whole 2020 to 2021 banner years, we're going to call them.
Casting a wider net, huh?
Andrew the Shark told us cast a wider net.
That's right.
Right here on this show.
That's right.
Yeah. So, Ryan, why don't you talk a little bit? I'm going to bring up on screen the platform we chose to use. And then why don't you walk us through it a little bit?
Absolutely. So, as you are about to be seeing right now, there it is. We use a platform called Hopin. I talked a little bit about this platform on this show. It's something that we've got a lot of experience with over the last 12 months or so. And this obviously this represents kind of a different category in terms of platforms, right? It's not a Zoom, it's not a Teams. This is a virtual conference platform. So if you can imagine, this is intended for when you have multiple things going on at the same time. And you need to centralize that experience more or less. So what you're looking at right here is the reception page, if I'm not mistaken. And that reception page is obviously branded with the event. We have some description. Who's this event for? What will they see? Obviously, this is us just trying to get right to the point and be very clear with what the event is for. And then we have some scheduling details. We have info on sponsors. We have, there we go, scrolling down, we have signage. Always a good thing to give your sponsors some recognition, and they have a place for it built right in. It was super simple on the back end. I mean, really anybody could set that part up. That was very straightforward.
If by anybody you meant like me and Alexa, then yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what I'm alluding to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just checking.
There you go. We also have the schedule. There we go. The schedule, which if you click on the different days, you can see the different sessions. And then one feature I actually really like a lot, Joe, if you hover over the little calendar icon to the right of one of those things, if you click that button, it'll go right to your calendar, whether you have iCloud or Outlook, Google. Most of the major services are represented there, and you can save it right to your calendar with a direct link that brings you directly to whatever it is that is, which I think is very helpful, especially when look, in the virtual setting, you show up to a conference, maybe you're not interested in actually sitting through each and every session, whereas when you're in person, you're there, captive audience. But people are a little more selective, which we know, so having a way to just earmark that one particular session or keynote or main stage, whatever it is, we found to be particularly helpful. So then, of course, as you see the little faces that are attached to those sessions, we also have info on our speakers. There's a little bio down. If you scroll down a little further, the speaker section. There we go. Anybody who's a speaker gets some recognition on the front of the page. If you click on those little icons, it'll show you their websites, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever sort of things you've kind of pre-populated it with. There you go. There's a little demo. Ed Willick, our friend Ed, did a session. Actually, that was a main stage event on audio, routing audio for hybrids. So thank you once again, Ed Willick, for coming on and helping us out. But yeah, so you have a nice real estate, so to speak, for your presenters as well. And so again, we're just talking about the reception page. Down at the bottom, you can also sneak preview on the booths, which we'll talk about in just a second. But obviously, branded pieces, they pop out and invite you in, so to speak. So yeah, how's that, Joe, for the reception page? How'd we do? Good?
I think that's pretty good.
Excellent.
I mean, I was impressed. I don't know about anybody else. I was impressed.
There we go. It's almost like I'm familiar with this platform.
All right.
Okay, why don't we...
You want to take a look backstage?
Yes, please.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's see what we got here, because this is actually the building and the backstage of how we build the event. But I think I'm going to go to the overview because that is really interesting. And just keep in mind that this event is over. Okay, so it's not a live event. You really can't even preview some of the key windows at this point. But this is a recap or a dashboard for a post event. And we've always been talking about one of the great things of online events is the data, right? The data is unbelievable.
Right.
I mean, you're not just getting a name and an email address. Like you know exactly where everybody spent their time on this event. Now, in this particular case, it said, okay, congratulations, turnout was 5% higher than an industry average. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but 82%, that's good. That's a B minus, right? Attendee score, attendees gave us a 9. It shows average time, turnout, peak attendance at certain points. And then it shows where, like what times people logged in, when were the high points, when were the low points, which is really great for planning future events. And especially giving data then back to the presenters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we had 79 user registrations. It now shows the top areas by attendee. So our main stage, which you would expect would have the most viewers, right?
Right.
53 of the people went there. 26 of the registrants went to networking. The AVX Live Experience Panel, 14. I mean, that's maybe we could have got higher numbers. That's all I'm going to say. But these are all the different tools and the information you're getting.
Right.
Where chats were most active, which again shows engagement.
Mm-hmm.
Who visited exhibitor booths, And to me, this is really interesting. So while most of the people were from the United States, we also had 5 people from Germany, 3 from Canada, 3 from Ireland, India. And I know that Singapore was in there. They must be listed under. But that's something that we never have had in any of our training before because we use this platform. And part of the reason we were able to do that is because when you set the event up, you can make it private or you can make it public. And in this case, we made this public, and Hopin has designed their platform so that it's somewhat of like a marketplace and a little bit of a hub so that you can actually search on events, preview, and get to use Hopin before you ever host an event there. So if you want to see what it's like, go on to Hopin. You can actually search free events.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find a free event and at least check it out, and you'll have a sense of how the controls work. And I'm not saying the content will be as great as Pirate University, but I mean, you'll at least get to see it in action, which you can't do with other things.
Right.
So the marketplace is really interesting. But I don't want to bog you down in this part, Ryan. Is there anything else in the reporting? Or I mean, in this case, we have recordings that live there.
The recordings
events.
Certainly a nice feature as well, because it takes all the recordings from your sessions and main stage and kind of compiles it into one easy to use location. At that point, you could also post them as replays directly in the platform. So if somebody missed it, they can certainly go back and rewatch it. And that's just a built-in feature of Hopin. But just the fact that it's all kind of in one place after the event, both from an immediate standpoint, like after the event, I want the recordings, and also for a legacy, right? Like this event is going to live in our dashboard. I'm not exactly sure for how long, to be totally honest. Maybe I should have knew that before.
Well, fortunately, I've already taken them off. We have them on our YouTube page, which we'll show you in a little bit.
Excellent.
But the fact that it was all in one place, tremendously easier to track and follow. And in our case, because we're production, we've actually recorded it in multiple formats. So we have it in a few places, but this was still the easiest to get the information.
Absolutely.
And this, honestly, I don't think this existed a few months ago.
No, that is a new feature. It is. Yeah. How about analytics? There you go.
Yeah, let me jump onto that quick.
I've seen some of the level of reporting is I'll say eerie, but for a marketer, it's probably like a complete opposite word, because it's exactly what they'd want to see, which is like line by line where attendees went. And because everybody has to log in with a unique...
That would be in this one.
Yeah. Everyone has to log in with a unique user ID. So I know where Joe Gilderson went and where he spent his time and how long he stayed in each session. And, to be able to come away with those insights, very granular and very, specific to user, I think there's a lot of value that you can get out of the, Hopin experience, both during the event and obviously for a long time afterwards.
Yeah, there's a lot of reports. We're not going to download them live because they take too much time to generate. But it's the information is endless. Honestly, it's pretty incredible. You can see registrations. That's the first thing you go to. So as you're trying to work on things, you can tell. In this case, we connected an account that we have with Stripe, so that we were collecting money for Make-A-Wish. And so we could do some donations. You see some different numbers. You know where it came from.
And look, you can see right about when we started really pushing this registration, huh?
You mean
it was right around there.
Yeah.
No, but those, honestly, that really is an insight, to gauge how good your, marketing efforts, your event marketing efforts are. Like, all right, whatever we did on August 29th seemed to have made a significant impact. Good to know.
Again, activity user, what sessions were more popular than others. Again, if you're booking conferences, you then go use this information, and then you say, you know what, let's book them again for next year because they had a great following, or they had a lot of people that were going to show up and attend.
Right.
And it's just really effective. The simple things as far as attendees, you can gather this information, of course, as you're going. You can gather the reporting information. So this way you can provide updates. Like we provide updates to our clients, on a weekly basis with this. And it's just a very simple thing, speakers, invites, everything that you would think, you can connect everyone with. And part of the reason for us, of course, in doing these things is so that we are really familiar. We're walking the walk. So when you say, hey, can you do this? We're going to say, yes, you can. Here's one of the things you got to be aware of when you're doing it. Most production companies can't tell you those things because they haven't done it. But that's why we're doing it. And the platform we're using right now to host AVX Live integrates directly with Hopin. Also, was kind of by design.
Right.
So we'll just show that's the StreamYard, and it connects right in here. And so this just becomes one of the ways that we're connecting our back end, our produced stream, which was branded and, had a lot of different graphics built into it, but we're layering those in and sending them out and connecting them all together.
Hey, Joe, we got a nice question from the audience here. Where can Hopin improve?
Well, it's funny that Mike Dardano has come up with such an incredible question. I think we might have banned him from the show a few times, but he's back.
True.
He's back with us, and we appreciate that. So, Mike, that's a good question because we've actually recently been spending time with the folks from Hopin, and we've been having a number of different discussions on things that potentially could improve, and maybe what we could do differently. Ryan, why don't you're probably, I'm going to take this off screen, so why don't you help Mike with that question?
Sure. Well, I think the first, the first most important thing from my perspective is because it's a web-based platform. There can be firewalls or VPN issues that crop up. Really, we're talking about when we're in a managed corporate IT environment where there are strict IT security measures in place. That's really when we see those issues kind of crop up, and there are ways to circumvent them. But it is, I would say, a downside in some ways, whereas Zoom, because it's app-based, many people are already using the app, and that tends to have fewer problems when it comes to firewalls and VPNs. Not to say that no platform is immune to things like that. They all are, the nature of the internet. But that's one area I'd like to see them, improve. And to be honest, I don't really have that answer for them. I'll let them worry about that. But other than that, I would say they do make a lot of updates to the platform. And sometimes they can catch you by surprise where, if you're in the middle of a week-long event and you went to go, change something or look for a feature that was there yesterday and now it's somewhere else, and maybe that's just better communication on their side. Hard to say, but, I think you could pick apart any platform very easily because, A, nothing is perfect, and B, there are bound to be different use cases that make certain platforms better than others, and that's just kind of goes across the board. So, I don't think it's a perfect platform, but I think as far as the virtual conference is concerned, where the multi-track content becomes really important, I think that Hopin does a phenomenal job, and it's really hard to replicate that with something else. It's also simple because we've seen a lot of products come out in the recent months where it serves a similar purpose, but the amount of, I'll call it bells and whistles that they include just add to the learning curve. And when the learning curve is potentially thousands of people who are watching, things, you become less effective at a certain point. The greater the learning curve, the longer it takes to have productive exchange of information. So, again, I think it's not perfect, but certainly has a lot to offer.
It's also probably one of the most stable in the sense it's been extremely well funded in the past year, and they've purchased some other companies. They seem to be the most stable out of all the platforms. They have integrated a number of different parts that are really very common in other things, just like registration platforms. They've added some things, Boomset. Mm-hmm. The fact that they are fairly easy to connect payment processing with Stripe and some of the other most popular items. They have things like Slido built in, which is a great presentation tool. It's pretty advanced, honestly.
Here's my crystal ball. Right? Do you know what I think they're going to add next? Some sort of. I'm just going to tell you. Some
Okay.
sort of advanced email marketing integration. Because what they have right now is fine at a surface level. But what's come up in the past is they want a little bit more customization. They want a little bit more out of the automatic emails that go out, and it's not quite robust enough to handle that that complexity. It's fine.
Wow.
It has more to it than I would say Zoom's automatic emails go out, but just in terms of the way they're heading, I think that's something that might
I think
be
it's a
on
very
the horizon.
bold prediction.
Yeah, I'm just making
curious
predictions.
to see if it happens.
Let me, if you want like lottery numbers or Super Bowl win picks, you let me know.
All
It's
right, just checking.
right over here.
We'll come to you for all that information.
Bucks
So,
again, back to back. Sorry, go ahead.
all right, so we're discussing Hopin. That's the online platform, and what we're using as the main hub. Why don't we look at the in-person side and see what we kind of had set up, and we got a whole bunch of pictures because we're visual people.
There we
So
go.
this is one of our main presentations. They kicked off from the main stage. So it's physically, again, it's a training session. So they physically had equipment. There's people there. Anyone who is in the audience is with a mask. Anyone who's presenting is without. They're obviously further away from each other. But we're trying to address all the things that many of our planners have to address. And again, so that we know what they're going through and can speak to it. This is from the production area, which again is behind the prototypical black drape there. And here's our stage. Yeah.
One thing to point out, as we've talked about a fair amount, is the footprint, the size of the footprint of that tech table. You're looking at about half of it right now, and to be honest, on a larger show, it could be bigger than that. But we've heard clients at times ask, like, do you really need all that space? Yes.
Yes, we do. Good point. Good point. In this case, we have all the lighting for broadcast. We have TV. You'll see this is for the in-room audience, and we have a little bit of a stage design. Let's move it along. So yeah, in this particular case, we have remote people over here. These are remote callers. Again, just like we'd manage any production show, we have video playback over on this side. This is just to monitor what's going on online. It's just like we were doing every other day. There's even a run a show right here. So let's keep it moving. This was part of the training process. There were certain things that were being looked at and evaluated. You can see everybody's in masks. And over here, this is that table that you saw was over on the left here. So then we're going into, that was just one section. This is camera, and then we're going down into streaming. This is our sender from Analog Way and the switching, mainly for the room. I think Dean's playing air guitar here.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure what song he's playing to, but we'd have to ask him.
Just vibing, I guess.
Yeah, but he's got camera controls right here. You'll see you got your previews right there. We actually we had 4 cameras. It was pretty fun. We had a great yoga session from our resident yogi, Alexa, right here. She's also making the corporate AV V pose. I'm not sure if you've ever noticed that, Ryan.
No.
But yeah. On our corporate AV card, that is to actually symbolize success. And the little heads there leading up to it, those are people. That's our audience.
It's
that's
like
the team.
A referee, success. Feel cool.
Feels good. So I think that's what Alexa was doing right there.
I like that. I think that was actually mountain pose.
Oh, was it mountain pose? I got to brush up a little bit on mine.
You could just shout out the question. We'll see if I'm right. Next time.
Okay, next time. Camera control. You can see the different shots.
There you go.
That's one Artie Dillon mixing sound over there. So he has sound for both the room and for the stream, for the online, which we spend a lot of time talking about because it's complicated.
It is indeed.
Here's our gentleman that's actually handling the stream. So the stream is a separate person, separate equipment, separate event, which we've been talking about over and over again.
Right.
Because it is much more complicated than I think sometimes people give it credit for. But Tim did a great job with it. Let's, hi, look at these 2 fine gentlemen. These are our remote presenters. So we had Inperson. You saw the yoga pose, the mountain pose. And now you're seeing two remote callers. One's in Florida, one's in Kansas City. And these are two resident experts. We got Omar Colomb from AV Educate, and he hosts another podcast on Monday night, AV Tech Talks. And then we have Jeff Widgren right there, and he hosts something called Zoom Test Kitchen, which is one of the most popular Facebook group pages once all this started. These guys have been working together for a while now, and both excellent presentation they put together. But again, showcasing like who's where. This happened to be one of the sessions. This was an online only. But in my particular case, you can see the background is somewhat similar. Shirt's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Might be a little more factor, from Dane's discussion. But background's the same because I'm in the same spot. Whereas everybody else is in remote locations. Pretty cool. And I'm not sure where Ryan was because
I had
a lot of people working.
I actually had a green background behind me. So I took full advantage of that, and I don't know. There was a lot of energy. I told you I was going to bring the energy.
You did. You really
and
did.
There it is. Oh, and also to answer our previous question, it was part of the Sun Salutations, but also V for Success.
Yeah. As in corporate AV.
V.
Yes. Well done. Well done. She really did good. Okay, that's our streaming station. And in that particular case, we actually have a special piece of equipment called the production bot. Super high tech. Super. I have no idea how to use it, but it's pretty amazing. Look at this team. We had a little selfie station. I mean, how good is this? This is a real event, guys. Like, we're not messing around.
Oh, man. There we go.
We got T-shirts. I mean, we have swag. We never have swag. We have swag.
There's a whole lot of swag left over, too.
These two twins have swag. I mean,
maybe we should run a promotion. Like best comment in the comments, and we'll send you a T-shirt from Pirate University.
I think that's a great idea.
I think it's a great idea too.
Okay.
God, I'm so smart sometimes.
I guess I got to put a banner up then.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right. Best comment.
We'll wait. We'll pause for effect because this is important.
This is totally important.
We got to check with our marketing promotions person.
Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. How that just happened so instantly.
Boom.
All right. Enough said.
That looks like a speaker timer.
It's funny that you say that, Ryan. It is a speaker timer.
Let's see. In a first installment, when you reach 30, wisdom follows, Ryan.
Does he get a shirt? Does he get a shirt?
I don't know if he intended it for that because I was saying I was so smart. He basically said, yeah, because you're old.
So Ryan, let me tell you what you're seeing besides the speaker timer. Because, again, it's a live presentation, right? We're on a schedule. We're on a timer. You also have truss. It's also got our lighting on top. So that's our stage lighting. And right here is one of our little camera friends.
RoboCam.
Yeah, one of the 4 cameras. Now, this particular camera was donated by our friends at Rentex. So those guys are always helping us out. And I got to say, the cameras were kicking.
They really were. They really were. You can't get angles like that, especially for those demos. You don't have a shot of the overhead.
Well, let me see. Let me see if I have a shot. Let's see. That's our friend Ed Willick doing audio for hybrid. Do I have a shot? Okay. Well, so this particular picture, right? Our audience would have been here. This is during the break. But our audience is on this side, right? So this is what they see. This is what they need to see. Now, I don't know if I have a picture of it right here, but we have an overhead camera above it shooting down right on the actual keyboard so that they could see his hands. And again, because we're thinking about this on a broadcast side, right? And just like in many of our events, our live audience was smaller than the online audience. So you have to think of everything from the broadcast perspective. And that's why we had so many lights. And that's why we had, things set up this way.
I'm getting you an overhead picture.
All right, see what you got on the overhead side.
Buy me time.
Here's a remote presentation, and this is what we're showing in the room for the in-person audience. So here's our friend Seth from Analog Way. He was in Virginia, just like 3 miles away from where the tornado hit and touched down. Fortunately, he was safe and in good shape. And he's demoing how to use a piece of equipment that was in our building, in our shop, So he had it dialed in remotely to connect to the machine, was actually controlling the machine from Virginia during this presentation. It's pretty slick. All right, I'm going to keep going.
Go ahead.
I don't know who these fine gentlemen are right here, but that almost looks like a live presentation. I'm not sure what they were talking about, but
me neither.
I do notice that you were a little underdressed for it, though.
What are you talking about?
That's all I'm going to say. I mean,
I wore the swag.
I'm just saying. That's all. That's all.
Now you're making me feel bad.
But look, here he is working remotely. So first he was in person. He was
also
IRL.
I want to point out, I have no idea who or how this photo was taken, because it's like there's no angle. Like that's against the wall, and somebody must have crept behind me while I was presenting, and that's.
It might have been the folks from Hopin.
Yeah, right. Just creeping through my speakers.
Well, they're a little bit of creepers.
Also, by the way, because I promised I would do it, here's your overhead shot. Wow. There we go, and that's taken right from our YouTube channel. You can go out, you can go onto YouTube on the Corporate AV channel and take a look. This is part of Ed Willick's audio routing for hybrid events. So again, you're looking at a robotic camera focused overhead, and every so often when he would go to do it, a more hands-on aspect of the demonstration, we'd cut to this shot so that people could really see what was going on. So there you go, promise delivered, and we're back. Nice. It only took me way too long.
That's okay. That's okay. This was our finale. We had a live discussion at the very end. That's our friend Tom Conklin with Make-A-Wish, who, many of you probably know, we're actually raising funds and trying to, we have a big donation going out to Make-A-Wish from everyone's contributions. They were part of Pirate University. So there's still time. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but we still have a text donate.
Pirate U to 8. Oh, crap, it's not in the scene. Hold on.
I think it's 833
562 0429. Nailed it.
Go. Wow.
Nailed it.
All right, so we'll put that back up in a banner in just a bit. Let's. I'm going to take this off screen. So this was what we actually built in, for the studio and for the in-person audience, and then it's now translating to what's going on online. So there you go, nice. What does the online crowd see? All right, give me a second, Ryan. Buy me 30 seconds here.
Well, that's okay, Joe, because I'll point out that there's actually no space in between Pirate and you, so I blew it, and shame. Oh, and here's Mike Giordano to help me out. Do you think Hopin will eventually have some kind of archive of a live event that just happened? Maybe it could be a premium service. I don't know, maybe.
Okay, I'm glad we answered that.
There you go.
All right, so this is what look at that guy. He is so direct. He's like, you will donate.
And what's funny? I found some pictures of the first Pirate University. That guy looked younger.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, low blow.
That was so inappropriate. I don't know where my play button went. All right, so right now this is actually, this is on our Facebook page. You can see this discussion, I'm sorry, not Facebook, YouTube page. You can see this video. This is a full discussion with Tom Conklin. But I'm going to show you some stellar camera work here at the end. So you can actually see this, because it's like...
We don't hear it, but that's okay, because the content
I
isn't the
decided
point
that
of
would
this.
Be distracting, to be honest.
Yeah.
So there's the overhead camera. And Dean has really made some creative impressions here. Wait for it. Wait for it. It's coming. It's so coming. And this is to showcase it's an international event. I mean, this really is international.
I gotta say, lots of zoom. Resolution stayed good, too.
I know.
Those cameras are pretty incredible.
Wow, he totally nailed that shot, didn't he?
Attaboy,
totally nailed that shot. All right, I'm going to take that one off screen.
Yeah, well, look, it also speaks to the fact that, we've done a lot of post-production work, a lot of video editing. But when you're in a live event and you are mixing a show for an online audience, right, you're directing, you have one chance to get it right. And when you nail it like that, and Dean totally nailed it, everybody knows. Everybody recognized it. We all clapped. Like it was just, everybody was on the same page that he had just nailed that piece, and it looked excellent. So,
I felt like Dean landed the plane.
He did.
He
did.
Like we were clapping. I felt like we made it. And if anybody doesn't remember, we actually hosted the show on the day of where all the flooding in the tri-state area
That's right.
from the remnants of Ida, I believe.
And that looked a little something like this.
Yeah, that was out in front of our the main road in front of our building. So there's only one way into our building.
That's right, by boat.
So interestingly, like it points to the hybrid side.
Right.
So our in-person audience was decimated.
Right.
Because no one could.
Our technical staff almost was too.
Yeah, we had to make some adjustments. We actually had to push back a few minutes just to really solidify things. Fortunately, all those people who couldn't physically get here because they're coming from Long Island or New Jersey, Connecticut, like they literally just couldn't get here. They were able to watch online. And you wouldn't have been able to do that before. So they're another advantage of the hybrid, scenario. Something that Hopin added on just really last week, which was perfect timing for us. They did not have, many of you are familiar with the Zoom. When you go to Zoom and you do breakout rooms, there is a broadcast feature that you can send a message to everyone in breakouts and say, hey, breakouts are closing in 5 minutes, breakouts are closing in 2 minutes, whatever the scenario. That was one of the disadvantages of using Hopin before, is that you could never really communicate to everybody at the same time other than the chats. But they introduced a broadcast feature last week, literally the day before we went live. And so we used that the whole time, really, to communicate one message to everyone at the same time. And that was really helpful when we had to hold for about 5 minutes to make sure some things were lined up. We could just send a note out to everybody, hey, everybody take 5. We're just waiting for one of our people to arrive. They're stuck in traffic right this second. So we had to we used that feature, and it was fantastic. Everybody then knew, okay, I'm going to go take a break, grab coffee, go to the bathroom, whatever. It really worked out well. Obviously,
in person, it's easy to just get on the microphone and literally yell and say, hey, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. But to be able to manage your attendee communications more actively. That really was really timely in terms of the new feature addition.
Yeah, all in all, honestly, I thought it worked out really well. There is also an app, which Ryan had demonstrated during one of our sessions, and the app worked really well. So if you want to communicate, network, send a note, chat in, watch any of the stages or sessions, you could do all that right from the app. Now, there's still some challenges. Just keep in mind, there's still some challenges with iPads, Safari. There's some limited support to those items. But I know on my Android, everything worked perfectly fine. And it allowed me to communicate to people who are both in the room and not in the room through the same platform. And I think that's the direction we're heading with most things. Good stuff. Ryan, you think there was anything we could have done differently or done better with our hybrid event experience, our hybrid event experience?
Yeah, I do. Where do I start?
Does it involve my clothing? I mean,
no.
What are we talking about?
No. I mean, honestly, if there was a lesson learned, it was need more time, to really put content together. Obviously, trying to get on people's schedules, whether it was a sponsor or a presenter, it ended up being a little bit of a moving target, which I think is kind of par for the course in terms of any event planning experience. But if we could have hammered out that run a show earlier, take our own advice more or less, I think that would have helped us in some ways. Otherwise, I mean, the hurricane, if I could do something about that retroactively, I totally would have. I don't know. I mean, any feedback on your side? What do you think?
Well, I think, one of the advantages to using something like this is you can hold multiple sessions at the same time.
Right.
And that became helpful in some of the scheduling because some people just, had to be at the same time instead of being all eyes on one.
Right.
There's certainly flexibility We're able to change how the tickets were being done. Literally all day long, you can make adjustments. Somebody needed help in their booth, we could help somebody in their booth. It was pretty flexible. But yeah, I mean, having more time to, I think, we're like the shoemaker in the shoes at that point, in the sense that, we're caught up in a lot of things.
Yeah.
We're bringing on attendees. We're trying to get speakers. We're building the production schedule. We're building the physical set. We're building the online graphics. We're building the online show. There's a lot of moving parts. And so I think having more time is always helpful. And usually someone else would be doing most of those other pieces.
Right.
So, but I think there's no better way to experience something. Be able to watch a Piper. Tone it down, would you, Piper? I mean, there's no better way for us to be able to guide our clients through than experiencing it ourselves. And I think that's really the key.
I agree.
What's Piper chasing the mailman? I mean, what's going on?
I don't know. I'm barking at nothing.
Well, I mean, that's really what I had as far as our summary, and again, I just wanted to be able to give our clients some resources, so they could get a sense of some of the things that worked well and some of the things they should be considering for a hybrid event.
There's another comment. I'm going to leave that up to you on whether you want to air that one.
I'm going to take a look.
Although I think I know who just won the T-shirt.
I don't know. I don't know. This one doesn't seem very appropriate, but head is becoming more square. I mean, do we think that's true? I mean,
actually, hold on.
Do we have the picture? Can we?
I was going to bring up a picture, and then I thought better of it last second. But now Mike, I'm doubling back.
It's a pretty good hair day. I mean, it's not bad.
Hold on.
Let's see what we got.
Wait for it.
I'm not giving him a T-shirt, by the way.
No T-shirt?
No. He's insulting us.
I mean, he insulted you. And this, it's much rounder.
Oh, I see what he's saying now.
Yeah. Before, after. After. Oof.
Hold on. Maybe I can get the angle right. Do I have to go to camera 2?
We're going off the rails. Mike, you win a T-shirt.
All right, fine, Mike D. You got a shirt.
Oh, man.
I know he's going to wear it to all the events anyways. So listen, if anybody's around, go to the Sonesta in White Plains tomorrow. We're going to be fortunate enough to in person receive a Best of Westchester Award from 914 Inc. magazine and our friends at Westchester Magazine. Those guys are great. And, and they're really keeping the awards going through the last few years here throughout the pandemic. And we're very, very happy and proud to be a part of their Best of Westchester series. So thank you. The pictures don't lie. I see the comments here from Mike D. But either way, Ryan, I'm going to let you take us out of the show.
Okay, deal. Well, thank you for joining us once again. Please do so next Wednesday at 1 o'clock, when we'll very likely have a guest here to banter with. You can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of the above. You can like, comment, share, subscribe. All of those would be much appreciated. It helps us keep this thing going. And of course, if you have any questions, you drop them a comment. We bring you into the show, just like Mike D, who is a loyal watcher and now is going to have his own T-shirt. So
I don't know. Loyal's a questionable, I think, word when we're talking about Mike right this
Loyal to me.
You're not the one he said square head.
Although he did say wisdom with age, that felt more like a compliment. So at least there's that.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. Wait. And smash the subscribe button. Oh, I almost blew it. Oh. Thank you, Alexa.
Thanks, Alexa. Thanks for doing his job for him again.
That's right. Well,
yeah.
Nice.
Thank
goal.
You.
Field goal.
All right.
All right. We're out. That's it. Goodbye.